will they be able to use the sponsors, or will it be like the Olympics where they had to give them generic names, Pro Evo style?
I'm really not sure. Yeah, it won't matter. We'll call them whatever we call them, I think.
Warrington's Halliwell Jones Stadium, Lee and Wigan, well, you've put here, but it's actually just Lee, isn't it? Will be hosting the Lee Sports Village.
I think it was the way that the press release was done to sort of kind of not tick Wigan people off, but
look, you've got to get a bus. It's not that far. The University of Bolton Stadium, or the Macron, or the Reebok, depending on which you prefer to call it. The Emirates Stadium in London, and also the Copper Box Arena will be hosting one of the wheelchair. I'm actually off to the Olympic Park on Wednesday, so I'll give it a wave. Middlesbrough's Riverside Stadium, which is a 34,742 capacity. Workington, or Allerdale, as they called it on the very confusing tweet. And I was like, where on earth's that? Which is under construction. I suppose the threat is for Workington, if they don't build the stadium in time, does it just go to Whitehaven?
I don't think anywhere up there is going to be capable of hosting them if that's not. It's not going to fit the image of the state of the tournament, is it? So I think it'll have to move to somewhere else if they don't deliver. But hopefully they do deliver, because it looks like a really cool, neat little stadium that'll, I'm guessing, host maybe some of the women's games, or maybe a Scotland international or two.
And finally, but most importantly, Coventry's Ricoh Arena will be home to 32,609 people, and I will definitely be there. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Well, I know you've got a bit of a take to give on this, Tim, but before we get to you, let's get to our listeners. Tom Andrews said some far-out venues. I don't think he means like...
Far out, man. They've got, the design, psychedelic colours.
In the stoned face. Stoned and psychedelic version. Some far-out venues, but all great stadiums. Now to get the advertising right, and don't let them be empty on TV. And Carsten said, good for Newcastle and Workington. I just don't know why Hull gets a game. It will not sell out. And Wigan got ignored. Do you want to start there?
I think it's going to be different for the World Cup, isn't it? And I think if you don't have Hull, you actually have quite an empty area of if you're working out of virtue of how many people are an hour, 90 minutes from a game, then actually that's quite a large area of the country that you then miss out. But if you did miss that out, and a large rugby league watching population, I think if you get the right game, get the right atmosphere, that I think the KC will sell out for that. I think there's a number of factors that happened in the game. Just in the Tri-Series, not least of which that they've played the same game over and over again. A few interesting ones that jumped out at me. I don't know if they caught your eye. Middlesbrough is an interesting one. Obviously, there's not much.
Yeah, very much so.
Not much
strange
heritage, if you want for a better word. There, it's not a proven market necessarily, and I think that's something one of the initial press releases did talk about, was proven markets. So I think that's a little odd, but good that we're trying to grow the game. I think, again, it depends on who you send there as much as anything. I think that's going to be quite a key decision.
Yes,
because I don't think it's particularly easy to get to, from my little knowledge of it.
It's just an interesting one, because we've never played rugby league in that particular part of the Northeast before, so it's going to be really interesting to see how they market. I think that's the key one when it comes to the marketing side of things, how they're going to do it. What I'm really excited about is that the draw's going to be made this year. Yeah. Everything so far with this tournament has run to the schedule and the plan that they set out when it was announced.
Dare I say it's all a little bit professional.
Yeah, and I think the announcement videos were fantastic. The way
I really like that whole show and the whole thing that they put together. I thought that was really good.
Finally, getting Helen Skelton on some rugby league coverage on the BBC makes total sense. Or Helen Myla Skelton, to give her a full double-barreled name, and also. I'm really excited that the draw will be made this year, and that gives us 2 years to try and sell these out. And these people that have been successful in these bids must surely have put together something that has justified their selection in terms of the budget they're going to put into selling these games out. And so I think with 2 years to try and sell the games out, I would really, really hope tickets go on sale not long after the fixtures are announced, and then people can really start to save up. I hope that they're competitively priced in the more out of their areas, like Middlesbrough, Newcastle, Coventry, Liverpool, but I really think it's going to be exciting. And then in the homelands, in the Lees, in the Warringtons, in the St Helens, that's where you might throw in the Tongan and Samoan games and that sort of thing, because we're all, there's an appetite to go and see that where we know who those guys are, not just the names not just the badge on the shirt. It's a little bit, it's not just England or Scotland, or potentially not Scotland. They've still got to qualify, of course.
Yeah, England or Wales, of course.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it'll be interesting, as you say, once the draw's out, to be doing, have a bit more of an idea of sort of routes and things and what's going to clash, because inevitably there are some things that you won't be able to do. You will have to make some either or choices.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting.
It's not going to be like the World Cup Down Under, where they were all weekend games. It's going to be midweek games. It's going to, there's going to be games every day, isn't it? What they said beforehand. So you're going to be able to schedule around all of that and trip around. Probably people listening, because I'm a Wigan fan, expect me to blow up a bit about Wigan not having any games at the DW Stadium, but I'm not from Wigan, so I don't take it personally as some other Wigan fans might do. I can just guess that they've got some sort of better commercial deal going with the Bolton Stadium, to be perfectly honest, than what they might have been getting with the DW Stadium. That would be my only assumption. And do you know what? Bolton is quite close to Wigan. I don't know if anyone's aware of that, but it's pretty close. As is Lee, as is St Helens, as is Warrington.
As is Anfield.
People in Wigan shouldn't feel too bad that they can't get to those games really easily. The same. It is a shame for the town, because it's a town that's got absolutely, it is the name in rugby league, in the world of rugby league, isn't it? Like, if you say, talk to me about rugby league, where do you start? You start with Sydney and you start with Wigan. I don't. So that from that side of it's a shame. But obviously the bid maybe relied too much on the fact that it was Wigan, and not that. It didn't do more than that, where some of these other areas have possibly done more. We can only speculate, but I think well done to everyone that's won in the bids. I hope that they're fully justified, that they justify their selections, though. It would be very, very annoying if one of these places dropped the ball now on this.
I think the only shame from my angle is that there wasn't another game in London, perhaps at one of the smaller London grounds. You could have easily had one of the midweek games pops there, because you've got 3 in Workington, for example. Could you have had 2 there and have one there possibly?
You have to remember, for the £10 million, we had to make sure 80% of the fixtures across the 3 tournaments were going to be played in the north of England. So there was a balancing act to play there as well, in that, wasn't there? And that £10 million is going to do some great work in the community game, and the community game, it's across the country where it'll be able to do great work in the community game, of course, but possibly, some of the places in the north are where the community game needs that money the most, where Tory austerities hit the hardest. But let's not get too political, because people will turn off. Shall we talk about the next thing?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, this is quite exciting. Details have been, and this is down south, so
but they put it on the weekend that 2 other things are happening.
Details have been confirmed for the European Championship C decider, which will act as the next stage of qualification for the 2021 Rugby League World Cup for Greece and Norway. The nations will meet at the New River Stadium, home of London Scholars, on Saturday the 18th of May at 1 p.m. kick-off as part of a double header before the Scholars game with Doncaster in League One. The winners move on to face Scotland and Russia in November in the final European qualifying tournament for a place in the 2021 World Cup. It will be the first time these countries have faced each other. The winners will be hosting Scotland and then travelling to Russia in November, which we just mentioned. So, yeah, it's very exciting for these 2 sides.
It is, although it's the same weekend that we're going to play in Barcelona.
It is the same weekend that we're going to play in Barcelona, and that the Summer Bash is up north. But for London Rugby League fans, this is something really cool for them to get down to. And, it's an opportunity to take new people along, isn't it, to the new River Stadium, because you can find people who link themselves with these countries, maybe, and Greek heritage, or maybe a Norwegian working in London, or that sort of thing. We can get these people down to these games and give them a taste of the greatest game.
Yeah, let's just hope that the new River Stadium has the infrastructure to cope with all this influx of people, because they struggle on a normal League One game where you've booked a ticket in advance. Anyway.
Right, but say it all goes to plan and works out well, this could be pretty awesome. I'm not sure what time the kickoff's going to be of the Wigan game. It would be great if the kickoff of the Wigan game could be after these games finish, or if not, there'll be a summer bash game to watch. On the TV in the bar after as well. So it could be a full day of rugby league in May down there at the New River Stadium for London Rugby League fans. So I'm gonna bang the drum for the positive on that one, I think, Tim. Sorry.
That's because you've not been to the New River.
Fair shout.
Anyway, Super League champions Wigan Warriors have been given a 2-point deduction for a salary cap breach during 2017. The penalty, which includes a £5,000 fine, relates to 6 separate payments totalling just under £15,000, which were not declared to the Rugby Football League. The Warriors have said they will appeal against the points deduction, as the breach did not affect the competitive balance of the competition. We can catch more about that in the short we recorded last week, so that'll be the one immediately before this, so just scroll down.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll rather than dig into that too much, we'll just say the last word on this is from St Helens fan St David, who said, "Harsh if you ask me, funny though."
Anyway, speaking of St Helens.
Yeah, St Helens captain James Roby has signed a new contract to keep him at the club until the end of 2021. Roby, who's 33, younger than me. Fucking hell, James Roby.
It's the same age as me.
102 tries in 428 appearances since his debut in 2004. He's won all major honours at the club and individual level, including the Man of Steel. So we had a few people wanted to pass their regards on to James Roby.
Yeah, Tom Andrews says, model player, nice to see he's being rewarded. Going forward, players like this need to be the face of Super League and push to star status.
Paul O'Brien says, a great player who always gives 100% will surely be playing less game time as he gets older. Hope he isn't just going to play on for the sake of it. I
severely doubt that, and I don't think he does show any signs of stopping or slowing down myself.
Oh, don't get me started. It's like I was stood thinking that exact same thing on Thursday night when I was watching him against Wigan. Tim, he is the Tom Brady of Super League, isn't he?
Well, I did see a joke.
Every year someone predicts he's going to decline. He's going to start playing less game time. Saints are going to need to find a new hooker to fill that void. And every year he just keeps going and being amazing and being one of the best players in the competition.
And the other thing is, there was a joke that went around Twitter the other day about saying that James Roby, age 50, is still playing and marshalling his Saints side to their third consecutive World Cup. The thing is, you could see it happening. That's the scary thing. You could see him just keep going and going. It'll only be when he gets bored. I think it won't be that he's physically not up to it. It will just be when he decides he's had enough at this rate. It's ridiculous. And as I said before with James Roby, we're lucky to be able to watch him. That he's going to be a player who, in 20, 30, 40 years, people go, oh, do you remember James Roby? I definitely think he's underrated, even as rated as he is.
Well, St David touches on that. He says, only when he stops will we Saints fans truly appreciate what a superhero Robes is. And when I read that, when I was putting the rundown together, I thought, I get there's some Wigan fans who don't appreciate James Roby because they've got this misguided notion that he doesn't appear in finals, or that Michael McIlaurin once had a better game than him in the derby, and that means that he's always in McIlaurin's back pocket. And I'm not saying McIlaurin hasn't had better games than Roby has when they faced each other at certain times, like the semi-final last year in the Challenge Cup. But I can't believe there's anyone who doesn't truly appreciate what a superhero he is. This week again, he was, I think, the only player who, he did 50 tackles, and I can't remember if he did 100 metres, but he must have got close. He was fantastic again this week. 54 tackles, 10 marker tackles. I mean, and that's every week from him. And he scored the decisive try. I just think he's absolutely incredible. He's the best. He's the best all round, the best player Super League's had. Maybe not the most exciting because he doesn't always, what he does isn't always